Hello, I'm Pete. This is Goodland Wood Co. In this video, I'm making a desk. And I'm making this desk out of a big, nasty old slab from a bowling alley. Personally, I prefer an L-shaped desk, so that's what I'll be making. The top will be primarily made of the slab with some vertically stacked Baltic birch plywood to get to the width and shape I'm looking for. The legs will be 2 layers of 3/4 inch Baltic birch plywood stacked together in a rounded and tapered kind of way. You can see it in my sketch over here. To start, there are many hours spent just stripping and prepping this giant slab.
There was a lot of big gaps in here, so I tried to pile a bunch of glue in and pull it together. I only had enough clamps to do one side, so now I'll do the other side.
As I mentioned earlier, I'm stacking Baltic birch plywood vertically to get the width and shape of the desk that I want. I ripped all these strips down on the table saw, and I'm gluing them together using pin nails to hold each layer on. At the end, I'll clamp it to make sure it pulls nicely together. Unfortunately, I can only get this type of plywood in 60 by 60 inch sheets, and this slab is 68 inches long. So I have small pieces to fill those gaps, and I'm alternating sides with each layer to avoid creating one large seam. I really like this stacked plywood look, especially with hardwood ply like birch.
The edge where the big slab meets the plywood that I put on was not perfectly flat. Now I was just using a belt sander to clean up that edge, so I'm not that surprised, not that upset about it. I'll fill it in with some sawdust and glue just to be safe.
That's what we're cutting. Make sense? Two tapered legs. And to make this strong, the next layer, because these will be 2 layers thick, will be the entire length. And then the leg pieces I'll cut off the top. I know you might be thinking, hey Pete, those legs are super chunky. You're right. I made them big so I can make the cross pieces smaller with some cool corners. Check it out. I started by cutting close to my lines with the jigsaw so I could take off less material with my router. Next, I freehanded the corners with my trim router. At this point, I'm only taking off material on the top. I hit the straight sections with a guide, then I extended my bit down and hit the bottom using the top part as my guide for the flush trim bit. This is the original design. Then I walked in circles for 20 minutes, contemplating my entire design and why the heck anyone would want to watch me make this.
So that's the plan. Extend that side out, stack some more plywood in between, keep the legs on the end. I hope I have enough plywood left. It's gonna be close.
I ran out of plywood, so I used 2 pieces of ash as well. It ended up looking really nice. Some of the strips are narrower than the desk is thick, but they'll be covered by trim and completely hidden. Before attaching the trim on the end grain, I put lots of glue on the slab, and that end grain absorbed way more than I even expected. I ran out of the good blue tape on my first piece of trim. This other stuff on the second piece just sucked, so I quickly grabbed my pin nailer to hold the second piece on.
The blade definitely tilted, and now it's very not straight. So we're gonna have to do it all again. I think I'm gonna do this in 2 passes, because that was just way too thick.
Well, making this cut in 3 passes worked great. But my camera either died or overheated, so you'll just have to take my word for it.
Awesome.
The first support will be on the side, and it will be made of ash, which matches the birch ply and the slab pretty nicely.
It's a nice piece of ash.
The other 2 supports will be hidden underneath the desk. They'll be made from steel square tubing from a bed frame that I found in the trash. To add some stiffness and strength to these square tubes, I cut some tight-fitting pieces of hard maple that I had in my scrap bin and pounded those in with a mallet with a little Gorilla Glue on each end to hold them in. I did this off camera, but you didn't miss much. If you've seen any of my other videos, you may have noticed that I use threaded inserts a lot. They make assembly, disassembly, and reuse very easy. This is important to me for moving or repurposing my projects in the future. Inserts can be a little tricky to install. I almost always test one out with a cutoff to make sure I have the right size hole for that specific piece of wood. I learned that one the hard way.
I drilled through this guy and cut it at 45 degrees, and now I can use it to pilot the hole. I did this once, and it worked all right. So now we'll do it again. We've got a slight change of plans here towards the end of the project. Some of the seams are better than others, but there's a few that are pretty bad. To make this look better, I picked up some thin veneers. These are maple, they were very, very inexpensive, and I think they'll look nice. Well, it's definitely not perfect, but considering this is the first veneer I've ever done, I am very happy with it. For the least exciting part of any project, bunch of sanding. The cheapest hardware I could find was actually zinc plated. However, I don't really like the look of the zinc plated hardware. So it's been soaking in vinegar for the last 2 days. Now obviously it's zinc plated for a reason, to prevent rust and corrosion. So we need to do something to these screws so they don't just rust like crazy. That's where paste wax comes in. This is definitely going to add some time to the total process, but it's going to look way better than bright silver screw.
If you couldn't tell by my many outfit changes, this project took me many months to complete. And many of the steps took way longer than they looked on the video. This project, more than most, was a reminder for me that mistakes are always fixable. And they're easiest to fix if you stop and do it right away. I added a cool feature under the desk using the metal supports. I created a net out of extra bungee cord material that holds onto my power strip, all the inverters, and the extra length of all the power cords. If you're still here, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Blah, 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 blah.